Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome back. So there are a few things that you absolutely need to crochet. You know, crochet hooks, scissors, tapestry needles. But then you open your phone, start scrolling, and you find a zillion gadgets and doodads that promise to revolutionize your crochet experience. Now you thought it was hard enough to find the perfect crochet hook? Well, buckle up buttercup, because we are diving into the very weird world of TikTok crochet gadgets. These gadgets promise to make you a stronger, better, faster crocheter, but do they really work, or are they gonna end up in the bottom of your closet next to that temperature blanket you never finished? Well, that's what we're here to find out. So grab your whip, something warm to drink, and your skepticism while I review these gadgets from TikTok and decide if they're stitch-worthy or ditch-worthy. If you are down for all of that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm about 240,000 subs away from my 1 million goal, and I've got about 6 months to get there. I think that's totally attainable, right? Well, it would be if the 46.5% of you would just subscribe already. You know you like it here. And before we can dive deep into these gadgets, we have to give some love to our cup of caffeine sponsor. My power was actually out earlier today, so I treated myself to some Timmers. And today's cup of caffeine sponsor is Abigail, and when donating, Abigail said, "Proud wifey moment." My husband is learning to crochet. He is left-handed, but we're using your tutorials and you explain so well step by step that he is able to watch you and then execute it left-handed. Thank you so much for the yarn love. And thank you, Abigail, for bringing your husband over to the dark side. It's about time I teach my husband as well. Oh, baby. Now, if you like my content and want to support my channel, buy me a coffee. Who knows, I might shout you out in the next one. Now let's talk TikTok crochet gadgets. We're gonna kick things off with the sponsor of today's video, and that is Lumos Lumos. They make this super cute knitting light, and they were kind enough to send me one to try out. Now, according to their website, this little thing is gonna help prevent eye strain, neck pain, and might even alleviate my migraines. Now that feels like a tall order for a little old neck light, but let's try it out and see. For such a small light, this thing actually has a lot of features going for it. First of which is how lightweight it is. It barely weighs just a few ounces, so it's not gonna weigh down your neck or give you any additional pain. It also has a flexible neck on both sides, and they can move independently, so you can line them up perfectly with your project, however it is that you like to orient your hands and your yarn. This light also has 3 different temperature settings that you can set independent on each arm. Press it once for neutral light, twice for warm light, and a 3rd time for cool light. I personally prefer the cool light setting, but you can use whatever setting you prefer. And each of these settings can be dimmed by pressing and holding the button here at the end of the arm. Now, everyone likes to say how much they love using a neck light for dark colored yarns, but I actually don't end up using a lot of dark colored yarns. You know what I do like to use though is fuzzy yarns. Now, fuzzy yarns can be equally difficult to see without proper lighting, and I actually happen to have a fuzzy yarn whip right here. So let's black out this room and see how well this Lumos Lumos neck light actually works. That is pretty dark, and it's safe to say I wouldn't be getting any crocheting done in this room. Let's try out our light. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. I can grab my project and start stitching away. What I like most about my Lumos Lumos light is how easy it is to adjust without having to take the piece off or have it move completely around my neck. Every part of it is so lightweight and comfortable to wear that even if it starts to shift a little bit on my neck, I can easily put it right back into place. Now, my biggest gripe with the Lumos Lumos neck light is nothing about the light itself, but it's about the price. At $50 a pop, that just don't sit right with me. Thankfully, Lumos Lumos has given me a code that I can share with you. Use code TONY25, that's TONI, the number 2, the number 5, at checkout to get 25% off your knitting light. But don't delay. This code is only valid for a couple days after publishing this video. Overall, I would say this is a keeper. I love the concept, it's got lots of benefits, and it's great for travel. But never, 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 never pay full price. Next up is this numbered poppet that the TikTok girlies are using to count their stitches. Did all the right things to get you to stay. Baby, it's hard not to give you your way. I get the Stitch counters, row counters, whatever you want to call them, they're super important for helping you keep track of where you are in your crochet project, so this concept makes total sense. To use one of these, simply lay it on a flat surface and start stitching. Once you've completed a row, you can press one of the pops and keep on stitching. I love little novelty items like this, and I've become quite a fan of fidget products, so this is a win-win for me. The biggest drawback, of course, is that you have to sit this on a flat surface to be able to use it, and I would never trust this inside my project bag. My fear is that it's going to come out with a stitch count very different than when it went in. Sure, this is fun to use at home, but it's not really practical for someone who stitches as much as I do. I would recommend the Clover Mini Kacha Kacha row counter. That one counts all the way up to 99 and has a locking mechanism to avoid any row counting mishaps. Amigurumi is getting a lot of attention right now, and we can all see why. Everything is just so darn cute. But you know what's not cute? Aggravating your carpal tunnel, try to put on those little pesky safety eyes. Enter the Craft Easy Safety Eye tool. It's a 3D printed set of pliers that's supposed to make attaching safety eyes a breeze.
I hate safety eyes, is what I would have said before this tool. Now, look how easy it is to just boom. You will no longer have to hate safety eyes. If you crochet, get yourself one of these guys. If you want to support the campaign, check out our bio too.
Dear Lord, why does everybody seem like they just drank a Red Bull on this app? I stitched up a little bit of crochet fabric for us to try, so let's see if this Craft Easy Safety Eye tool is actually worth adding to your stash. And we have to do a little bit of setup before we can use our tool, starting with removing this guard. There's also this little black piece here that we need to take off because that's where the post of our safety eye is going to go. So once that is out, we can now go to our plethora of safety eyes that we're working with. I have some kind of medium-ish size eyes, and then I also have these cute little snouts. First things first, I'm going to grab one of my safety eyes and sit the washer on the back. I should be able to thread the post of the safety eye through this little hole here, and then I'm supposed to line up the eye itself with this little silicone piece so it doesn't scratch the eye. Then from here, I squeeze until I hear a click. Oh, there it was. Wow, that took like no strength at all. Okay, so I'll take it off and, oh, she's on there. Oh, she's on there and she's not going anywhere. Wow, that was really, really easy. Okay, let's try that again. Insert that washer on the back. This washer is a little bit smaller, but it fits right into the space there. Can you even hear the click? It is so minute and then it's just in there. So the snout goes in the space between the bars of the stitch. We'll try this one right here. Gonna bring that post through and put the washer on the back. Tool goes on. Try and line that up with the silicone and oh, wow. I feel like I don't even have to check it. It is on there. I am pleasantly surprised by this Craft Safety Eye tool. Now this product isn't currently available and the details around the Kickstarter are a little bit murky, but I do hope this makes it to market before some greedy corporation gobbles it up. I'm sending a lot of love to the original creator of this tool. His name is Mike Wood and he's based out of Utah. Now he sent me this to try out without any expectations, and I'm glad to say that I really love the tool. The concept makes total sense and it is definitely stitch worthy. Sometimes I take for granted that most crocheters are gonna know what the must-have tools are, and believe me when I say a yarn ball winder is a must-have tool. Sure, you can wind skeins of yarn with your hand, but who has the time? Not me.
2,000 years later, 6.5 hours later, a few inches later, day 2, day 3, day 4, a few moments later, 1 eternity later.
The first thing you need to know about your yarn ball winder is how to assemble it. It comes mostly assembled, but there will be 3 individual pieces. There's the foot, there's the body, and there's the neck. These are not technical terms, I made them up, okay? We're gonna take the neck and attach it to the body. There's little slits here that this slides into, and we'll give it a turn. Then we need to flip this over and attach the foot. Put the foot inside the bottom of the body. From here, we can attach the screw, and if you've got long nails, I hope you have a friend to help because this is not the easiest process. There you go. And once you've got the 3 parts together, you are ready to start winding. To use this particular yarn ball winder, you will need a table to clamp it to. So we're going to slide the foot underneath the table and the yarn ball winder above the table, and then use the screw at the bottom of the foot to tighten this to make sure it's secure to the table. Once the winder is attached to the table securely, now you can grab your yarn. So to start, we need to thread the yarn through this little corkscrew, and then we're going to affix it through the little notches at the top of the yarn ball winder. You'll want to apply a little bit of tension just to make sure your cake comes out even, but then you can just start winding. So grab the crank and we're gonna rotate it counterclockwise for a nice, not too tight yarn ball. Once your yarn cake is done winding, just wrap the excess yarn around the cake and then tuck that tail under a few strands of the cake. From here, you'll want to grab the yarn out of the notches and then just lift your beautiful yarn cake up and off the winder. There is a syndrome that goes around when people get yarn ball winders, and you will want to wind every skein of yarn that you have. But let me caution you against this. Winding yarn too far ahead of actually using it can remove some of the bounce and flexibility from the fibers. So only wind yarn when you're about to use it, or if you just happen to have leftovers. Now this one from Knit Picks is pretty standard, but there are lots of different yarn ball winders out there. I am constantly asked about my heavy duty beauty. This is the yarn ball winder from Fiber Supply Co. Now this one costs about 800% more than the one from Knit Picks, but it's an investment that I can totally justify. It is a whisper quiet, it makes bigger yarn cakes, and it's easy to use on a flat surface. Now decisions like those come down to maker preference, but either way, make sure you have a yarn ball winder on hand. One gadget that's taking the knit and crochet community by storm is this little guy right here. This is a mini minder, and it is the go-to gadget for taking your projects on the go.
Until the point that I'm not done talking yet. You will speak when I'm done.
Oh, honey.
Girl, security.
Simply put any cake of yarn right here, slip this leather strap over your wrist, and Bob's your uncle, you can crochet to and fro. Now I was gifted this absolutely adorable mini minder by one of the members inside my Yarn Hive community. I absolutely love the bee motif that's on it, but I haven't had a chance to try it yet. No time like the present, right? Like any good idea, the mini minder concept has been co-opted by capitalist vultures, and now you can find knockoffs over on Amazon. But the real and original mini minders are made by a company called Lemonwood. Go to their shop to find mini minders in a couple different sizes, as well as all the accessories you need. If you plan to do your stitching at home, I've got another gadget for you. This one is called the Wool Genie, and it's meant to feed yarn at your pace for effortless stitching.
우연이라고 하기엔 I'm so deep it doesn't make any sense. Alright.
I reviewed this little guy before, and you can check one of these corners for that video, but it's been a while since I tried it. I was a little meh before, but today's a new day. Let's give it a go. When you receive it, your Wool Genie is gonna come in several pieces. I break mine down to store it, and here's how I put it back together. The long neck goes into the body here, and then you're going to put this flat part here into the base. Doesn't really snap in place, it just kind of lays there. And then you have this long post. So this has a metal piece in here that actually moves around a fair bit, and then there's a magnet here on the top. So that is the magic of this entire product. So you just put the metal against the magnet, and now this can spin and move, but the magnet is strong enough to keep this all as one piece. We're going to find the center of this cake. Just find the center, doesn't have to be perfect. Put it on here just like that, and then you want it kind of on the same level as you're stitching. And let's see how this goes. So let's start off with some chains. All right, it's about to catch from the yarn ball. and I'm not getting any resistance at all. And that's nice because last time I was definitely having some trouble and it was pulling and yanking in a weird way. Maybe I was just in a bit of a rush last time, but I was definitely having more issues, but it seems to be sitting just fine this time. So it does what it says it does. The Wool Genie is kind of still a meh tool for me. Sure, it technically works, but it is not even close to necessary. A simple yarn bowl does essentially the same exact thing, and you can turn anything into a yarn bowl. So I can't really decide, but you'll have to let me know. Is this stitch worthy or ditch worthy? You can't drop a stitch marker on the internet without somebody mentioning this damn Volare pillow. It's supposed to help with the ergonomics of your stitching to allow you to stitch pain-free for hours and hours.
I love to crochet, but sometimes it can be hard to find a comfortable position, especially when you're doing it for such a long time. So I was so excited when Volare sent me this pillow. It's actually a gaming pillow, but it can be used for crocheting or other sorts of crafting. It's really helped me with my posture, and the elbow support has been such a game changer.
Like many others, I thought the Volare pillow was just an overblown boppy when I first saw it. Even the creators acknowledged that the Volare was inspired by the boppy, but the design stops there. It's stuffed differently, it's covered in a different material, and it has a larger footprint, all aiding in your stitch posture. With all that said, let's see if it's worth the hype. The pillow itself comes in a separate part, and it's kind of shaped like a banana, and you slide it into the case. It is recommended that you wash all of this before you use it. It's gonna help your pillow fluff up nicely and ensure that there's no ickies on your pillow from the factory or from the shipping process. From there, we just zip it up, and then we can wrap it around our midsection. Come on, Pep. Hey, baby. Now, when you slide your pillow on, you're meant to rest your elbows on these pieces that go around your side. That's how you get the relief through your shoulders and your neck, and you can feel it almost instantly. Now, let's see if it's as easy to use once we have a project in our hands. Being able to use this pillow is going to depend a lot on how you typically orient your hands and your project as you're stitching. I do find that I kind of have to switch things up because I typically have my project as close to my lap as possible when I'm stitching without the pillow. But I could certainly see myself making some accommodations to be able to use this because I'm going to have a lot less shoulder, neck, and arm pain as I'm working on my projects. I kind of liken this to something like swivel cords, right? You don't necessarily need it, but as soon as you try it, you can see what all the hype is about. And I see why people are really enjoying using the Volare pillow. The more I use the Volare pillow, the more I like it. It's shaped more like our bodies, and it really does help with your posture when you go into those marathon stitching sessions. It's kind of a beast to store, but other than that, I don't see any drawbacks. So I'm giving this a big old thumbs up. Definitely stitch worthy. We opened this video with a lighting tool, so why not close it out with one? This little handle right here has a couple different lighting settings, and by attaching any of these 17 crochet hook heads, you get a lighted crochet hook in a snap. Inside this case are 17 different size crochet hook heads ranging from 2.5mm all the way up to 14mm. You also get one handle, one charging cord, and 2 different size wrenches for securing the hook heads into the handle. To kick things off, we have to assemble our hook. I'm going to need the handle, of course, and for my temperature blanket, I am using a 5mm crochet hook. It's a little tricky to see, but the size of the hook is actually printed on the base of the hook itself. I'm going to drop the hook head into the handle and rotate it slightly to get in position, but you are going to need this tiny little tool right here to tighten up your hook and make sure everything is aligned. Now, I'm not typically a plastic crochet hook user. I don't mind the resin hooks from Furls, but like straight up plastic like this one, not usually my favorite. The hook itself actually feels pretty nice. Everything's aligned. It's got a nice thumb rest to it, and it's not slowing me down. It's actually not bad at all. But the true test test is going to be how this works with the lights off. Is this something I can actually use in the dark? We shall see. And now the lights are dimmed. So the first step is to click the button here on the handle of the hook and it starts to light up. Now we have two different brightnesses. First click is high, second click is low, third click is off. I'm going to put it up to high just to make sure I can actually see. When I insert my hook, I'm noticing that the light of course comes from the handle, not from the hook head itself. But since this is crystal clear plastic, the light travels all the way up to the top of the hook, and lo and behold, I can actually see pretty darn well. It does help, I think, that I'm using such a simple stitch. I don't know that I would try to use these with a more intricate pattern or stitch, but for something relatively mindless, I think these actually could be a really good fit. There are plenty of circumstances where you could use a lighted crochet hook, a power outage, traveling, on a campsite, so I can definitely see how this set would come in handy. The only thing to look out for is not losing this little baby wrench. I'm gonna give this a big thumbs up and tell you that it is indeed stitch worthy. Alrighty, my loves, that is it for today's gadget test. I'm glad we found a few to add to our collection, but I'm sure I'm missing plenty. So I would love to know, what are your favorite crochet gadgets that you cannot live without? Let me know down in the comments. I can't wait to read them. Another note of thanks to our video sponsor, Lumos Lumos. Don't forget to use code TONY25 to get 25% off your knitting light. The link to that is down in the description. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.